Oh,
I think
okay.
he's still trying to get some licenses or whatever, insurance.
How are the mics here?
The mics are really bad.
Really? Is there like, are there some hot mics like that you really want to make sure you get out for?
Yeah, you have to find them though. I mean, like New Orleans, I felt like everyone's mad if there's only 3 audience members at a mic. Or here, it's like if there are 3 audience members at a mic, everyone's really happy. It's like,
Yeah, but man, I feel how many people are usually signing up at these mics?
probably like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And they're paying, like when I was here a year and a half ago, everyone I saw was like a $5 sign-up fee. And I had a show in Brooklyn, and I met this guy from Chicago. He's like, hey, I'm going to this mic if you want to tag along. I had nothing to do. So it ended up being next to Joey Rose's.
Oh, did you go to the Black Cat?
Yeah, Black Cat. And I was like, do you have to pay? He was, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to pay. I'm just going to watch for a bit. And we walked up to the door and had like closed by the Department of Health and Mental Stability, whatever y'all.
Mental hygiene.
Mental hygiene, which is beautiful. And stability works for me. And I was like, oh, I don't think you have any show tonight. They're closed. He goes, no, it's still going on. Sure enough, they were just operating like there was no business.
It's officially closed whenever they have that mic. It's like the coffee shop, and then it's like the host. She sits right next to the stage, Sonya, and it's almost like it's a roast, but it's just her. She has a timer. It's very procedural.
Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where at least you know exactly what you're getting every time you go.
Yeah.
It's usually not totally sad.
I'm not familiar with this mental hygiene thing. That is if
That's the name of the New York Health Department, is the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene.
oh, because I've seen those restaurants will get like the bad letter or something, and I didn't know the mental hygiene in my head. I was thinking, yeah, I was just thinking it was a thing where like the comedy is so bad that they had to shut it down for people's mental health.
Maybe that's where I get the phrase mental stability in my head. But I was like, yeah, that's a great.
Yeah.
I want to work there just so I get a shirt.
There's going to be a bunch of loony birds in here, so just so you know, we're putting up this sticker.
One of the officers watched a mic, and they're like, Jesus
Like, no,
Christ.
Shut it down.
We can't let this happen.
So that's the only mic you've done here?
No, I didn't even do a mic.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I just went watch with that dude, and then I was like, deuces later.
Have you done a mic here?
No.
Okay,
No.
don't do it. Y'all doing great shows.
Yeah,
Why would you fucking do it?
My 3rd time here. I've not done a mic. I said I'm not doing it. So
Yeah, kind of like when you're here, it's like any show you get it feels like the promised land. You've made it. Anytime you have a spot, it's like this is actually what I want to do.
yeah, I would say just only one show we've done that was just, and other than that, everyone has been great. I haven't seen, other than that show, I haven't seen any bad performances. Like, I don't.
That's what I was telling you earlier. We did the show, and it wasn't... so the host rules, old friend, super nice dude. Every comic on the show was great, and every comic worked so hard.
Yeah.
The audience... they just weren't into. I don't know why they came. I don't know why they stayed. It was they just seemed miserable. It's like they were just trying to get out of the heat or something.
It was in
you know?
Bushwick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know what makes those people happy.
Yeah.
Bushwick. That's what's hard about New York is like there's a surplus of really, really talented comedians, and
Dude, yeah.
you'll go to a mic and everyone will be funny, but no one will be laughing, and you're like, wow, this is really this feels bad.
I mean, it should be where all these shows are hot because there's so many comedians here. Like, just the number of comedians and the ratio, and, I would think that every show was a barn burner, as long as you know the comics.
Yeah.
But it's great. We haven't, other than that one, none of the shows, I mean, I've not seen anyone bomb, anyone do bad. They've been really good. So.
And a couple superstars. People that I'm like, wow, that's good. Like, I today was quoting jokes that we've heard from comics. I'm like... And the writing is so... I can tell that all these comics, especially like the young ones, because like the... what was it? Marcella at the Friday night show in Bushwick.
Yeah.
She had stuff that I've just never heard or even thought that way before, and I was just blown away. And she's like, yeah, I've been doing this for like 2 years. And I'm like, wow, keep going. And then Abe. Shout out Abe Shapiro.
Abe Shapiro?
Dude. He came into the show last night, tore the room apart, and again, like he was...
Grizzly Bear?
Yeah. And he was doing some stuff that's like divisive. I mean, this room, super diverse room. Everybody's like, like pretty young, liberal, just, and he opens up with like, the Palestine and Israel crisis, and I'm like, oh boy, they're going to shut down. But his take on it was so original and funny. He talks about his dad. Yeah, I'll quote the joke. I don't think I'm going to ruin it, and I don't think I'm blowing the joke. If anybody sees this, go see Abe Shapiro.
He has two posts on his Instagram, so he just said he just got that started. So I think we're okay.
That's the thing. I mean, his act, he did 10 minutes, and I'm like, this guy's like a pro, and I think he said he's been doing it for a year and a half. And then we were exchanging Instagram, and he goes, I haven't really started using it for comedy. I just started Instagram, and then it's just two pictures, like a picture of nature and a picture of like an animal or something.
Like welcome to Instagram.
It has nothing about comedy at all, and this is one of the funniest guys I've seen on the trip. But yeah, he said that his dad is Jewish, his mom's not, and so he's technically not Jewish because of the maternal thing. And he's like, my dad is so Jewish, he's figured out how to solve the crisis. It's a 3-state solution. And everybody's like, a 3-state solution? He's like, yeah, 2 Israels. And it was just like, I mean, it destroyed. It was just so funny. But he had a lot of really good stuff, man. It's exciting to see comics working like this. And it's weird because a lot of them, you go in and we're used to, like, you know, the New Orleans thing. Every mic is a hang.
Yeah,
everybody's goofing off and having fun. Everybody here's been nice, but there's a serious nature to almost every comic where it's like, especially before the show, they're not cutting up too much, whatever they're writing. They're getting their camera ready. They're, you know, getting ready to do the material they came to do. And I think not drinking, not smoking, nothing. And they're taking it very seriously, which is nice. And it pays off because everybody's been pretty funny, like really funny comics.
Yeah. I mean, there's an extreme to that too, where it gets to be a bit of a bummer, but at the same time, it's healthier than the Louisiana scene a little bit.
Oh, no, 1,000 times. I mean, I say like living in Lafayette versus living in New Orleans, they would have so much more stage time. Then you go look at cities like Houston and Austin and everything, and like, I don't know, it's a lot. It felt a lot tighter here, but of course, the shows we're doing were really good. We were lucky to be on these shows, but yeah, I feel like I would get swallowed up here because I would have to like change the hustle, everything I do, because I don't know.
Yeah,
you would have to work and be out there every night to keep up with these people. So
yeah, no one. Anyway, I feel like I should introduce this. This is episode 8, by the way.
Hey.
This podcast is called Starving Artists.
It makes sense.
Yeah, I'm here with 2 prosperous gentlemen.
Only because of the day jobs.
Yes.
From the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
To thy fellow peasants. No.
Jason Leonard here and Isaac Kozell.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
I feel like y'all are doing me a favor for doing this because y'all are doing such great shows here in New York.
This is awesome, though, because our days are kind of open. We've just been wandering around doing different things. So when he said that you want to do a pod, I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah. What have y'all been up to? How has New York been like during the daytime? Have you noticed how hot it's been?
Yeah.
No, it was stupid. Like it was without the humidity.
Yeah.
But it was like it felt like especially when we were in the subway, it just felt like you're in a fart.
That's where it feels like Louisiana is when like up here it's hot, and then you get into the subway and that's where it feels like the Gulf South because of that humidity and that funk down there. But yeah, the heat didn't bother me too much until Sunday. We went to the Yankees game and we were sitting just in the direct sun. And I couldn't, when we first sat down, you couldn't even like put your back to the seat because the seat was so hot.
Were you on the bleachers?
Yeah, well, I guess it was like, the second from the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we were second from the top. The top, even though it's the nosebleeds, they have that shade up there, and we were just right there in the full sun. And we saw a little girl pass out. Mm-hmm. We saw a lot of parents like taking their cold beers and putting them on their children's backs. And just a lot of shirtless dudes that didn't give a fuck. They're just taking the shirts off. And, everybody was struggling in the heat. And that's the only time it really got me. I was sitting there, I was like, God, I'm cooking.
And then that cloud cover came. It was like a brand new game. It was like, oh, it was nice. And then we were fine after that. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, beautiful.
There's a lot less air conditioning here. I guess maybe I don't know if y'all noticed that. Like my house has no air conditioning, so it's like you just can't escape.
No, that's why
life is a hot hell.
That little fan, I was like, I'm bringing a travel fan that plugs in USB, and it's amazing. But this AC in here, you can raise a family of penguins in here. It's so cold.
Was it even fun watching the Yankees? Was it good?
Oh no, it was great.
Yeah,
it was we had a good time. I got choked up twice. I miss because I used to go to the Pirates games in Pittsburgh a lot, and I just love sitting at a ballpark and watching a game. And we sat down And we right when the first inning started, we sit down and I took a breath and I felt myself getting like a combination of giddy and like joyful tears. I was like, like just, and he's laughing at me. And
He
then
made that sound too. Yeah.
I did. I was like, I made a little squeak because I was just like about to tell him how happy I was, but it just came out like a little squeal. Like I was so happy.
But right at the same time, I was like, I'm so happy to be here. Like it was great. And I watch zero sports. I don't watch sports on TV. I may watch the championship game. I definitely haven't watched a baseball game in 20 years. That was the greatest. I can go there every day. It was
an awesome experience, and we got hot dogs and beer, and then I don't know what inning it was. They played That's Amore, and the whole like everybody starts singing along, and that's where I really got like emotional.
Yeah.
I got so emotional. I don't know why. It just hit me in a way that was like, this is beautiful.
It's a piece of American culture.
It really. I don't feel American that often, but I was like, this country rules.
I haven't even been to a Yankees game yet. I've been to the Mets because it's much cheaper. But
I actually think that might be a more fun experience. If I had to choose a team, I'd pick the Mets to root for them, but the experience of going to Yankee Stadium was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Where's the Mets play?
They play in Queens.
Okay.
It's feels much less historic.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fun. It's cheap. It's fun.
Yeah, I like the Yankees because it felt like the way they did the stadium with the little trim at the top.
Yeah.
It felt like old timey. We're talking about the uniforms and everything, but yeah, I loved everything about it. No, even getting out the subway wasn't that bad. Just I think getting there was the roughest, but even all those people leaving, I had a blast.
Have y'all done any other like touristy things? Yeah. Any highlights? Any New York moments?
The first day that we got here, I just threw on the running shoes and just took off to explore, and ran up to the Empire State Building, and then ran all the way down through like Union Square, and there happened to be like a really cool farmers market. So I hung out at the farmers market, and then went down to this really awesome dispensary, which was one of the best dispensary experiences I've ever had. What was that place called? The Travel... Fuck, I don't know. It was kind of like a weird airplane terminal looking place. Something travel. Travel agency was the name of it. Great selection, great service, super cool. And then just kind of got lost on purpose. Like I got off my route and went through like Madison Square and went and took pictures of buildings, and it was just a beautiful afternoon. I was just out for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours just bopping around. And I love it. The city, I feel very alive here. Like back home, it's you go downtown and it's like you don't get that energy. There's something, because if everybody's downtown, it's because there's some big thing going on, a parade, a festival, something. So, and that gets overwhelming. But just people out doing their day-to-day stuff all together I find that very exciting.
I think this is the least touristy trip I've taken. Just because like we stay up so late at night in the day, and it's just been like sleeping in, trying to but I took like one little walk the other day, but other than that we're supposed to go to Chinatown today. We woke up late. Okay, that's tomorrow.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever thought about like moving to a place like this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If my wife would let me, I would be here tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, we've had that conversation.
Yeah, I have too. I thought about it because I grew up in the Northeast, kind of Northeast
Where are you
Midwest.
from originally?
I was born in Wheeling, West Virginia, which is like about an hour outside of Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh was like my nearest big city. I ended up working and starting comedy in Pittsburgh, and I really liked the city a lot. And we used to drive all the way across Pennsylvania to come to New York all the time. We have a lot of friends here and family, and so I'd be in New York, I don't know, at least a couple times a year. And then with stand-up, I would come once a year and do a week. Yeah. And I've always loved the city. I think at my age now, if I was going to move up here, I'd probably go like Astoria or Jersey and just be right out of I don't know if I could live right here. Yeah. It's everybody stacked on top of each other. I like a city, but I'd rather live in a neighborhood.
It seems like a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot.
I'm the opposite. I've always been in neighborhoods, never been in a city. And New York was this weird thing for me, like growing up, that only knew it from TV and all the stereotypes you have.
Everyone in
on it.
Louisiana hates it for some
Yeah,
reason.
yeah. Like
Which I don't understand
it
that.
wasn't a
They do
home-
that with LA too.
It was
Anybody
just-
that comes, they're like, I'm from California, boo. I'm from New
Yeah.
York, boo. It's like, why? What?
But like this is back in the New York was all the crime and all that through even it from watching Seinfeld and all the shows and the movies and everything. It wasn't until I came here a couple of years ago, like right before COVID, the first time, and I was like, oh shit, my whole life's been a lie. And then kind of getting to comedy and knowing all the people here, and then come for the first time, I was like, as soon as I was here the first time, day one, I was like, that's it. Sell the houses. We're good. We'll find a place for the cats and dogs and the kids, and we'll come here. I love it. I would take that apartment. Well, I need to see it first, but right across the way, I would live in there. But I wouldn't be able to afford to have a 3-bedroom. So
That's the other thing that I think
Yeah.
about too. It's just the cost. If finances were an option, sure, I would live downtown.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't need to have a car, and I'd pick a cool neighborhood, and that would be my spot. But we were talking to a buddy on Saturday night, and he had moved from Louisiana, and he's like, yeah, we're out in Astoria, and I'm like, man, I love it. It's so cute over there. And he's like, yeah, it's good. It's more affordable than the city. He's like, but we're still paying $3,000 a month for our place. And I was like, phew.
Well, you can live here, but you're going to live in a closet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you pay $3,000 to have a little bit of space, just to feel like it's a nice home experience.
Yeah.
But you could live in like the Lower East Side for like $2,000 in a 1-bedroom.
yeah.
I think that it's got to be tough for a comic because you have to have a day job just to keep a roof over your head.
Yeah.
And then you have to make time for comedy. So you're working 16, 18 hours a day, most people. And at a level where you're new and you're trying to get past places and whatever, you're actually paying to go do open mics to nobody. It just seems like it's very daunting. I don't think I'd be up for it at my age.
A lot of young people I've noticed, they just live with their parents for a long period of time. That seems to be the thing to do, is you live with your parents until you're like 25, 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it would be the hardest transition would be what I would do with my 2 dogs and cats and my one kid that now lives with us, because the other one's moving out. But it would be a total change. I'd pretty much get rid of everything and just move up here.
What's your day job? Would you be able to continue to do it up here?
I'm in education, so I'm employable anywhere, I guess, so that would be easy. It's just, but I don't know anything about the schools here. I don't know how it works, and all that. I mean, I'm sure they still teach kids, but I don't know how the school systems are set up, Yeah.
Are you a teacher?
I used to be. I'm a supervisor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really don't know y'all personally
okay.
well at all, so that's good. You work in public.
So glad we invited you to our hotel room.
I mean, I know y'all from comedy, but like at the end of the day, we don't ever talk about our actual lives.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, most of the context is from jokes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
I know about you because I know about your family. I know about different things, your employment back in New Orleans because you talk about it on stage.
Yeah, we talked about the show we just did and
Yeah.
what happened during the show we just
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No, I've been in education like 22 years. So I've been assistant principal, a teacher. Now I'm a supervisor. So yeah, I can go anywhere. My wife works for the university, so she's good. It's just taking that step and uprooting, which we're talking about. Like we really want to get out of Louisiana. We just don't know where.
That's to say, give us your thoughts on the state of Louisiana education.
Yeah, we're ready to get out of it. Not the well, now that we just put in the you have to display the 10 Commandments in every classroom, which is great. So
International news.
yeah, great.
Because it's that insane.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely bonkers. It makes
Yeah.
no sense. It's going in the complete wrong direction. Like it's taken so long to get to a point where, you go to your school and like you have people of all different faiths and beliefs and non-beliefs, and to be like, well, this one we're going to put it back. It's like, God,
Yeah.
man, it's very insulting to people that don't believe or have other religions. I don't know how that's even legal.
It's
with
freedom
the
of
church and state thing.
Yeah, it's freedom of religion as long as you're following this religion, or believing in a God, but you don't have to believe in a God. It's dumb. I hate the whole state. It's from women's rights to all the other shit.
The environment's getting really bad there too.
Yeah.
Like it's. Yeah.
I know. I don't know when's our breaking point because we keep bitching about it, and it's like, what do we do next?
It's funny because a lot of comedians, they like to make fun of me being from Louisiana here, but like I don't have any good defense.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, my family. I like my family.
Yeah.
That's really all I can
Yeah.
say.
Are you
I
from-
know some nice people there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's it. I mean,
the people I associate
people
with
are
are great.
cool.
Yeah.
oh no, there are great people. There's an amazing hospitality down there. The food's good, but the food and the Mardi Gras, all that shit, that's not enough to keep me there.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy that stuff enough to be like, well, I know a lot of people that their whole personality is glitter, and so for them,
Or wearing a red
Louisiana.
dress.
I mean, it's just that they have more clothes in their costume closet than their regular clothes. Like it's that, and for them, that's their identity. It's how they burn off steam. It's how they cope. It's how they celebrate. Everything is it's going to be a second line. It's going to be doing Jello shots. It's going to be that. It's just not me.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
there's nothing that's like keeping me there other than work right now. And I think I could just move and do what I do anywhere.
It really makes me miss New Orleans, just remembering that there's people whose whole personality is like, when is the next scary, like, degenerate event that we're going to have?
And that's not my style, so I stay away. I'll stay away from it. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Lafayette.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you know how it is. And then we got Clay Higgins, who's a piece of shit, and then we got it's just
Shots fired.
Yeah, you hear that, Clay
Congressman
Higgins?
because he did good Crime Stopper videos.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
a racist
Yeah.
sheriff. Great.
He does look like a
so
cartoon sheriff from
Yeah.
or like a Dukes of Hazzard villain.
It's
And was fired from multiple police departments.
Yeah. And abused his wife, allegedly, but read the articles. And all this stuff. But yeah, let's reelect him again.
Tell
But
me that's
just,
an aggressive guy. The guy threatened
Yeah.
to kill wanted people.
That's what happens when you have a buzz cut. You have to be angry all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm done. There's nothing that ties me to Louisiana that I need to be there for.
Mm-hmm.
The food, like Isaac said, the food, yeah, but you can get great food anywhere. I'm not just doing that. I don't care about the Mardi Gras and things like that. It's so centered around religion. It's too much.
Yeah, this is the Fuck Louisiana episode.
Yeah, sorry.
Come to hate.
Yeah, unless you're from Louisiana, like and subscribe. Thank you.
No, it's very difficult to defend.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff there, but I see even you meet a lot of cool people, and the culture, like Cajun culture, is really cool. And you see that even what they like to do, and also their livelihoods, that's all being affected. Like hunters, fishermen, all that. If you do it recreationally or professionally, it's getting real tough down there because they are diverting waterways. They are putting up the the gas extraction things that just tear the landscape apart, dump a bunch of chemicals into the area, and then hurt the sale. I guess for them is like, hey, we're providing jobs. But there are jobs that existed here for centuries that people do, like people that fish, people that,
Shrimp
even
and crab,
crawfish season. There are people that make their living doing that. And then one season they go out and they don't have water on their land anymore because it's been diverted out. It's like,
Yeah, the Cajun culture too. It's very family oriented. That's the thing about it is like you can't even really find it. You have to just know people. Like people come visit Lafayette and they're like, "Where is Cajun culture?" I'm like, "I don't know. You could hang out with my grandma, I guess."
Yeah.
And you see, that's another reason that we're kind of good to move, because like I'm not close with my side of the family. My wife's close with her parents, and she's got 2 grandmas left. But that's it. That's where our ties are. And I feel stupid that I've lived there so long. I was telling Isaac, like here, I was like, why didn't I take a fucking chance when I was in, I left high school, went to college. Instead of moving an hour away, I could have, deuced out and went somewhere else, but I didn't take a chance. And that's probably my biggest regret as I go around. I'm like, fuck, I could be, I'm glad the way my life worked out, my wife and kids.
I was about to say, it's pretty cool what y'all can do now.
Yeah, I'm just ready. I'm so done with that fucking thing.
Are you actually making plans to move, or you just?
We're starting the puzzle starting.
Yeah. We're doing the same thing, me and my lady. It's, I think after Hurricane Ida.
Ida's what brought me here. I was like, when I had to be gone for 2 weeks and just like be at my parents' house, I was just like, dude, this is. Why do I have to do this every year? Just
I know.
Like 2 weeks of like.
I know, to have that's the other thing. The cost of living there, it's so bad, and it's a poor state. Like economically, we are a very poor state, and the average income is low. But that's okay if you can live cheaply. But now people are being priced out of the entire state. The after Ida, it was tough because we stayed, we didn't evacuate, and our house got hit really bad. and it's all fixed now. But we were saying recently, heading into this hurricane season, neither of us think that we could mentally or physically go through that again. If the house gets damaged,
it's supposed to be another one of the worst ones on season right now. It's
right?
Yeah,
and that threat is always scary. And then the crime has been really bad, and the infrastructure of New Orleans is really bad. Like they'll put up like a $500,000 sculpture for something, but they can't fix like people's neighborhoods. Like everybody's cars are destroyed because the potholes are so bad. We've been having a lot of sinkholes lately. We're getting tornadoes now, which was not a normal thing. The flooding is bad. We had a thunderstorm a couple weeks ago, and the water in our neighborhood was higher than I've ever seen it. Like it was up to my knees, and never seen it that high. And it's like, so you're there and you're paying more taxes. Property taxes all just went up. Insurance, if you can even get insurance, because a lot of people got dropped after the hurricane. Ours just went up 90%.
Yeah.
So we're paying twice as much for homeowners, and the coverage isn't as good.
And they just changed the law, so now you can just be dropped, and then you're fucked.
With no warning, your insurance company can just let you go.
Yeah, and
then
you
can
have
be
to
without.
get the state subsidized insurance or something.
But that's what a lot of people are on now, I think.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not good insurance.
It doesn't cover, yeah.
The deductibles are insane. So if something happens and you lose like part of your roof, if your roof doesn't need replaced completely, you don't get, your deductible might be like $9,000. The roof repairs $7,000. And so you just have to pay out of pocket. Every time you lose shingles, you have to pay unless your entire roof gets torn off. And at that place, your house is full of water. The whole place has to be gutted. It's just like, it's no way to live. I don't understand the logic of sticking around.
Where would you move though? Where would you?
Up here. Yeah, we're talking about Northeast. She's originally from Jersey. We both love Jersey. We both love the city. And also, like, my family's over closer to the Pittsburgh area. Mm-hmm. And so anywhere, we really like Pittsburgh. That's a pretty cool town, very affordable. And then close to New York would be really great, too. So that's the two places that we keep looking, like, you know. But there's so much, like, we have a house there. And then my day job, my business is there. So I would have to completely start over. And then wherever you go, you're starting over in comedy as well.
Yeah.
You know, to some extent. So it's a lot to consider, but like we need a little more peace of mind, I think, or maybe just a little bit more support from like the government in our state and in our town.
I guess what's good here, though, you know people here. There's like a good network of Louisiana comedians here.
A lot of the
on the higher levels, I should say.
Yeah, I know a couple glitter faces. That sounds bad. Well, you mentioned earlier people who's existed, a bunch of glitter faces that moved up here. But yeah, there's a lot of people. So I don't know.
But that's also the benefit, though, of having a home base. So like, you know, you run a bunch of shows in your area. I do in my area. You get to meet comics. Mm-hmm. We've been doing it for a while. So then when you go visit somewhere like New York or LA or Chicago or Austin for a week, a couple months out, you hit up everybody you know. Hey, I'm coming to town. Can you recommend any spots? Do you have any shows? And because you're visiting and you've put them up and they're your buddies, come do my show, come do my show. Reality is that would not be the way it is if I lived here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so I kind of like coming up and doing a dozen cool shows once a year. Get the experience.
They're excited to have you too. They don't see you all the time.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Isaac, I'll put Isaac on it.
Yeah. Good to see you. We'll hang after, and then hey. And the other thing is good. Like sometimes you're on like a pretty good show. Somebody goes, "Hey, I have a show in a couple nights. You still in town? You can hop on." Because while you're here, they're going to try to use you. But if you live here, I'm surprised how many absolutely incredible comics that have been doing it forever and have like all kinds of credits and stuff have a hard time getting spots.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's that way for everybody.
I think that's why it's so good to have a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I started a show like 3 months ago, and I just feel so much better. Like just to have one spot you can rely on a month. I'm like, at least I got that.
And that also puts you out of just the open mic circuit because now you have a negotiating tool. You can invite people to do your show, and then they can return the favor. You know, hopefully it's all like because you're good at comedy as well. Mm-hmm. But we were talking to a couple comics the other night. Their room was awesome, and I said, "What's your deal with the venue? Do you get like a percent of the bar, or you know, because it was a free show?"
Yeah.
And they said, "No, they just give us the room."
Yeah.
And I was like, "You do all? I mean, they put up lights, they move the chairs, they bring their own PA." They book the show, they bark the show, they promote the show, and also all the comics are killing. And I'm like, wait, everybody's doing this for free every week? And the other thing is the restaurant part, it was dead. There was like one person eating. The back room had like 40 or 50 people packed into it, and they're all getting food and drinks. So the show is making the venue money. I think the venue should even, I don't know, like down south, it's usually at least a 20% cut, but I think you could negotiate 10. Just get $10 and maybe you'll get 150, 200 bucks from the bar, and you can pay yourselves for producing and then throw a little bit to the comics, you know? But they're like, yeah, nobody really does that here. You just want to have the real estate. You just want to have the spot.
The venue always just acts like they don't need you. Even if they do need you, the vibe is like, oh,
it's like they're doing you a favor.
Then you rely on, if you all right, do you do a little small cover, you do a donation tip thing, you know? So,
just out of curiosity, did you ever talk to any of the people I sent you? Like, did?
No, I hit up a few. I'll have to look through and see, but I had so many. It sounds bad, but and good, but we had so many wrecks from both our sides that we had to we turned down a few gigs.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, okay, this is good, you know. So, but no, I and there was a lot of people I didn't even hit up because we'd booking pretty nicely, you know.
Yeah, the schedule got too full. As of like 2 weeks ago, the only night I didn't have a show was Monday night, and you had 2 shows on Monday, and I was like, damn, I don't want to have a night off. I want to work every night. And then I finally got a Monday show, and then 2 nights ago, somebody was like, hey, come over after that and do my room. So now I got 2 shows. But yeah, 3 shows a night, especially when you're going downtown Brooklyn, like hopping around, it's exhausting.
It's so much.
So those first couple nights were pretty intense, and I'm glad that the schedule makes a little more sense. It's like 2 shows a night for the next 3 nights. Which is good. It's doable.
Yeah, tonight's gonna be fun. It's like an 8, and then I'm gonna walk a mile to the other one. It starts at 9, but I'll probably go around 10, and then after that, try to hit to the cellar to catch the late show. So, and then tomorrow night we got. Tomorrow night we both had 2 shows, and then so Isaac's doing it by himself. I go do the pod, and then it's like just have fun after that. But I don't feel like we have to. I think it's just like going I'm going all the way to Astoria or Brooklyn and then coming back and then
Astoria is very hard to get to. That's the hardest one.
Yeah.
But man, I love that place. Walking that little downtown. No, Toodles and French.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never gone to Astoria because it's daunting.
I don't know. A lot of people mention that place you told me, but I don't know what it is. But
it's just a venue.
Yeah, it's a venue. Mike Kaplan used to have a show there. I did that.
Yeah.
Last time I was in town, I did it. It was
cool.
cool.
Was it the same area as we were?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I think so. What's that? Ditmars?
Ditmars, yeah.
That I think it's close to that because that seemed to be where like all the restaurants and stuff were.
That little area right there, that was beautiful.
It's adorable. I would love to live there.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's like a comedian capital right there. They say that's where the highest concentration of comedians in the country is. I don't know who got that stat, but
like
they decided that. But that's what I've heard.
If you listen to the podcast, like there's a lot of comics that all live near each other there, and a lot of them in the same building. And then if somebody gets a place, a lot of them want to stay in Astoria, but like. You know, like Joe and Sarah just had a baby. They got a bigger place. That opened up their place. And then another comic that I think lived in the city came and took that. So they're building this like area where everybody's close. Yeah. And I think it's nice too because then you can actually have nice hangs with people, you know, just in your own backyard as opposed to having to go out and spend a ton of money all the time.
And then only one of you needs to start a show and everyone's got a show. So there you go.
So are you doing, I don't know, if I should name drop.
It was fine.
You're doing Mark Norman's podcast?
No, I'm doing Robert Kelly's podcast. Yeah, you know what, dude? Which is bonkers.
Yeah.
The fact that he asked me to be on that.
Where is that? Is that like at a studio?
Above the cellar.
Oh.
Yeah.
You'd be in the olive tree?
It's I think it's upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We went and ate at the Olive Tree last night. First time I really ate over there.
Yeah, food's really good.
It's freaking amazing.
Awesome.
Dude,
it was so good.
His steak, I wanted to send my shit back. I was like,
that steak.
It was great. I had the kebabs. They were amazing. But I was like, once I tasted his, I was like, all right. But yeah, no, I freaking loved it. But yeah, it's so I'm gonna go watch Robert do he's doing a 7:00 at the Fat Black. He's doing like his show or whatever. He's running his hour, and then we go do the podcast. And then as soon as I finish, I'm gonna try to catch up with Isaac at the Stand or the other show.
Yeah. Are you nervous to do the Stand?
No.
No.
No, I think because the lineup's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky to even be on it. And it looks like it's a really hot show. Like I've been kind of
Yeah.
following it the last few weeks, and it looks like they pack out. It looks really
That
fun.
should be a fun crowd.
I think so. And that's really all it is. The only thing, I don't really get nervous anymore, but I get kind of like irritable when you walk into a room and it's like, wow, like the one show the other night, it's like, it was nice to see all the comics, but then it was like, man, this audience hates comedy. I don't know why they're here. then I get a little like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
But like all these other rooms, like when you see that energy, it's like, oh, I can't wait to get up there. Like it's going to be exciting, you know? And we're doing short sets too. Everything's like 8 to 10 minutes. So it's like, it's pretty hard to bomb. If the room's hot, you're going to do fine.
Yeah. I've never gone to a show at the Stand and it was like the crowd was bad. Like even people who aren't, you're like, oh, the comedy's not great, but everyone's having a good time.
Yeah.
How long have you all been doing comedy now?
I'm right at about 10.
10 years?
Yeah.
I just hit 12.
12.
Yeah.
Damn. Here with a couple sages.
Yeah. It's weird. I started late though. I didn't start until I was like into my 30s, which is kind of a weird thing. I'm always jealous of guys like you that like decide you want to do it young.
I think it's all relative though, because I feel old myself. I feel like everyone just has that feeling.
I guess so. How old are you now?
I started when I was 24.
Okay.
I'm 29 now.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the people who are big in New York, the young people, like 24 or 25.
Oh, we met the dude last night, 21. He just turned 21.
And then you got some killer people like Maddie Weiner, who's like really young and like just yeah. I didn't know you can do comedy, and like I just never knew.
That's the thing. I think if you grow up here, you see it as like a career, whereas I didn't even know what an open mic was until I was about 22.
Yeah, and
yeah, same. Every representation of comedy that I watched when I was little, it was Bill Cosby.
How's he doing? Okay.
Yeah, no, but like it was just what my parents, had. So it's like it's Bill Cosby, it's Sinbad, and it's these people doing these like huge things. You think of them as like the Rolling Stones. It's like
you didn't even know how they got there. You're like,
no,
they
you
must
don't
just
know
pick
there's a
guy.
process. And also, all of those people also do other things. They have sitcoms, they have movies. So I thought that I didn't know that you could just be a comedian. George Carlin, I was introduced to him from Bill and Ted's, and then I found out he's a comedian. And I'm like, oh, a lot of funny actors must also do comedy. I didn't know that people were career comics and then got into acting because of comedy until probably Seinfeld. And at that point, I was like a teenager. It started to make sense, but I didn't know that there was a level of comedy where you can just kind of work almost like an indie band, and just
I didn't know you could just set up a show,
What's the evolution of comedy in Lafayette? Because like if you've been doing it 10 years in Lafayette, what does that even look like?
All right, so I played music from like 2000 for about like 14 years, and I remember we played one venue in Lafayette one time. They're like, hey, we got 2 comedians open for you. I don't remember who these people were. I just remember like, oh, and I was like watching and I was like, oh, that's cool, but like where do they do comedy in this town? And then we played a show in Baton Rouge, and then they're like, oh, there's a comedy show before y'all. And I remember that's how I got to like see like Josh Watts and all these people, and I was just watching it going, well, I can do that, but how do you do comedy? Like whatever. So there was some comedy back in the day because that's where Mark Norman started. His first open mic was 2006, I think, 2005, 2006, I think. At downtown, they had a weekly show that I never even went to. I remember Doug Stanhope played there one time, and I tried going to the show.
The Surfer Bar?
No, this was it was called 307 Jazz and Blues. It was like a little bar, it was nice, but yeah, he did his first open mic over there, but I didn't know they had I didn't know they did comedy over there. I tried seeing Doug Stanhope, and they would like charge like $20 more at the door, and I was like, no, I'm good. But that was it. And then it wasn't until I met some people from New Orleans who I'm keep them unnamed. But we talk about. I was doing a thing in New Orleans, and then like they found out I booked bands at a bar, and they're like, you ever want to do comedy? And so we hired him in, but there was no comedy at the time. I think maybe Lane Lagnon and Mac McMillan were doing shows at his place, but it wasn't like a regular thing. And then once I started doing the shows, then that became regular. That was the Poet sidebar back in the day. And then John Merrifield and Tyler started their thing at JP's, and then that was the whole rebirth or whatever, and it's been running since then.
I imagine Lafayette, it was probably like old men telling stories or something.
Well, there's still this thing. They had Cajun Comic Relief was the biggest show, and I just hosted it for them because they're trying to like bring in a new, because it's kind of dying because like there's no more really Cajun comics. It's not like they're busting up and like, oh, it's kind of like people who do puppets.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of Jeff Dunhams waiting to go on, you know?
Yeah.
But all these people, I'd say it, but they're dying, these Cajun comics, because they're old as shit, because they're just
An old man who just has an hour of stories.
It's just Boudreaux and Thibodeau jokes, you know?
Often I'm noticing a lot of props, suspenders, props, maybe a musical instrument of some sort. Like it's like a whole variety act.
Yeah.
Very vaudevillian.
But Cajun. So that was, I mean, they did a show every year, 2 shows at the Hyman Center. They would sell it out, 2,200 people. It was huge, but like their fans are, dying off. The comedians are dying off. So now, I helped them this year for their thing we did in January. And it's like, all right, we're trying to get more people out there, but you can't bring in those people because your older crowd's dying off. The young people don't know.
Grandma went. She said she had a wonderful time.
Oh, okay.
92.
Wow. See, I killed it. Yeah. I had to keep it clean, too. They also bust in old folks' homes, too. I mean, that's, the clientele. But, it's fun, but you just don't have, there's no new generation of Cajun comics. So that evolution's kind of changing, but, I don't know. It's just... It's been weird. There's nothing new that pops up over there. It's either, me or John and Tyler, and that's all. That's it. There's no one else hustling, to do anything else. But that's where we've been for the last 10 years. It's just doing that.
You started in Pittsburgh, you said?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's that like? Is that just like a smaller version of New York, almost?
Yeah. I mean, it's like
in terms of comedy. Now, obviously, it's much.
It was it's like a lot of cities. It's got similar vibes to New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Cleveland. It feels like a lot of those. It was all, it's coal mining, steel mills, production factories. That was Pittsburgh. And then when that industry, all those industries started to like kind of fall off, Pittsburgh had a really bad period where it's like, what do we do as a city? Like this is all we've known for generations. They got smart and focused on like healthcare, education, tech, renewable energy, and they've had kind of a resurgence. And it's still got that nice grittiness to it, but I feel like the city is prospering in a way that it hadn't, like from when I was growing up. It was like a pretty scary place, like in the 80s and early 90s. But yeah, for comedy, it's great. I mean, you've got mics almost every night. There's an improv there, so you can start working the improv, host, feature, and then they have a theater, arcade comedy theater that's like a sketch improv stand-up theater that's great. It's down in the Arts District, and those people are awesome. Those are good shows. And then you have all the bar shows, all the rock clubs, very much like here or like New Orleans. Anywhere that has live music and a stage has a comedy show for the most part.
Is that where you started, like just doing like bar mics?
Oh, yeah. The first mic I ever did was in the Strip District, and it was at a wings and beer place, and you performed on the floor. Pennsylvania's weird because you can't go to a gas station and get beer. You have to go to like an actual beer supplier or a wine and liquor store.
Like a big warehouse type deal?
Yeah, it is. It's like
warehouse.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it looks, it looks like a bodega or like a small grocery store. It's just only beer. And you have to, I don't even know, I think it might have changed now, but like when I was coming up, you couldn't even buy 6-packs. You had to buy 12 or 24 packs because they could sell in bulk. No singles, no 40s, and so the beer, like the bars there all sold beer to go, and you had to buy it by the bottle. They would let you assemble a 6-pack, but you're just paying for 6 beers from the bar. So if the the beer distributors closed down the street, and they also have weird hours, a lot of them weren't open late.
People coming in and out, like treating it like a store.
Yes,
oh,
and so the to-go cooler, you performed in front of that on the floor, and while you're performing, you'll just be in the middle of a joke, and you hear "excuse me," and then you see the fluorescent light, and they're back there, cling, cling, just getting their bottles, and then they're over there. All right, I'll get those, and it just during the whole show. However, that show was so fun. That's where I met most of the Pittsburgh comics. It was a Wednesday night mic at the Beer Hive was the name of the place. Awesome place. The owner, Joey, still a friend of mine. He was in New Orleans. We got to hang out. But yeah, that's what you're doing. It's just anywhere that you can put a mic and, perform. But they have cool clubs. Like there was the Smiling Moose had that was like kind of like a rock, like punk bar. They had a comedy night. Club Cafe in the South Side was like a place you'd see a lot of cool touring bands. They had comedy. So yeah, I still like the scene there. It's awesome. They have a barbershop show too. They have outdoor shows at festivals in the summer, plenty of stage time. And I like that they have a club because, Louisiana, we don't have a club where you can get in, learn the business, work, open. Well,
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have any real clubs.
No,
yeah, but
a
a club
Yeah.
structure where comics have something like you work so hard and then you get to host, you start making a little money. You get to feature, you make money. Then the headliner goes, hey, I'm going to do the next 3 cities around. I'll take you with me to feature. That's how a lot of people make it. And there's no way to do that in Louisiana at all. You're not going to get seen. You're not going to get discovered. There's no industry. So you just do it because you love it. And then the way to make money is you do if you get good enough, you can get on all the good shows and maybe make a couple $100 a month. And then you run shows and then you make money and you can pay comics. That's it. But it's not a living.
People in New York ask me all the time, they're like, what's the club in New Orleans? I'm like, there's no club.
There's no club.
There's
No club.
no club in New Orleans.
There are club adjacent places, but there
And there are 2 small rooms. There's two small comedy places.
Clubby.
It's clubby, but again, that's just a bar that has, a Friday and Saturday show. And the other thing too is like you can only do one show there. And let's say you have a headliner coming in, you can't do two shows on a Friday night and sell out the room twice because it's like dance night after that. And all the comics, as soon as it hits 10 o'clock, they turn the lights on. Everybody out, and then they switch over to the.
If it's not Mardi Gras too, there's really just not as many people in the city.
No, there's not. And like now we're in the slow season. It's so hot down there right now, and tourism is slowing down, and so, But again, I do think if you care about comedy, a place like New Orleans is a good place to get better at comedy. But if you think you're going to make a living doing stand-up, you won't. I don't know there's not one comedian in New Orleans that makes a living doing stand-up. Everybody, the best comics that can tour, headliners, they've opened for everybody. They're not making a living, even close to a living, doing comedy.
Yeah.
At all. They all have to have something else.
A side hustle.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Is there anything I want to plug? I think we've got it.
You can follow me at the JP Leonard. I got a podcast with Tyler Arsenault out of Lafayette called We're Dying Down Here, where we interview national comedians. That's on the YouTubes under Lafayette Comedy. No, that's about it. If you got a place for me to live, you want me to move to your neighborhood, let me know. Yeah, let me know because
What we're gonna do with the dogs?
well, we need a house so we can bring the dog. So. Yeah, I'm going to sell everything I possibly can, and I'll start over, and I'll just roll up here with 2 dogs and 2 cats and my wife and a kid, and leave the other kid at college. So,
yeah, and Instagram's probably the best. The Isaac Kozell on Instagram. Post most shows and clips and stuff there, and I'm trying to be better about social media. So
yeah, I had a very hard time finding your Instagram.
Yeah, well, we had this conversation. My old handle, so somebody took my name and they made like a dummy account. I think they ripped it. Before I had Instagram, I had Twitter, and I think somebody it was my old Twitter bio. They started an Instagram for me. There's no post, there's no profile picture, but I can't get my handle. And I've submitted like requests before. I want this. I've messaged, nobody responds. They're just sitting there. It's just a dead account. And so we get here, and where I'm finding out that some of the bookers on shows that he booked can't find me on Instagram, so the flyers are going up. I'm not tagged, and I'm like, it's this fucking hand. I have to change the handle. And so actually last night at the Cellar, we were sitting there, and I'm like, I'm doing it now. And
he made me hit the change button. I had to.
Well, because I've had the same handle since I started Instagram, and it's linked to everything that I have. It's linked to my website. It's linked to everything. So now I have to figure out everything that it's linked to and go change the handle because now the old one's going to direct to a dead page. But I was like, at least people could find me now.
Now we're the Isaac Kozell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Isaac Kozell's taken. But like after the shows, like audience members come up, can I follow you on Instagram? And I try to tell them like the handle. They're like, we can't find you. And I'm like, here, let me just type it in. And also it was a joke. It was a joke name. It was based off
Buddy
of my
man.
Well, that's just like the name. That's just that is I'll keep that, but that's just a term of endearment from my best friend. But the name, it used to be Casanova Magazine, was a reference to an old Mama's Family episode, and it was my first big joke. It was like my first closer.
Yeah.
So much so that people would hear the joke and then see me out in public and go, Casanova Magazine, because that was like the big reveal in the thing. And I was like, man, I'm branding. I'm like doing an Instagram based off my biggest joke, whatever. I don't tell the joke anymore. Nobody knows what Mama's Family is.
This is my whole career.
I tried to explain to an Irish guy the other night. It was an old sitcom with
which we watched yesterday. It came on, yeah.
Oh, I almost peed my pants. It was on MeTV. It's an oldies kind of. It's an old show.
We watched Love Boat too, but all right.
It's an amazing show. It's Carol Burnett's in it and Valerie Harper. It's very funny, but the joke doesn't work anymore, and I don't tell the joke of the Instagram doesn't work. I don't tell the joke anymore. Irish guy, I'm trying to explain to him what it is. And he's like, I don't understand anything you're saying, and I'm like, I have to change this.
That would be a good way to see which of your jokes people like the best. You start an Instagram account for every joke you've got, and you see who gets the most followers. You know?
Yeah. Which one? Yeah. And it only has it's just one clip that you post every day of